I am Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years, and today I have my special guest. He is the author of the book Amazon bestseller, no other than Mr. Devin Sizemore.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Devin, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yeah, so Devin Sizemore, I always start with I'm a serial entrepreneur. I love all things business, so I've owned everything from a marketing agency to a cat cafe. This book is the culmination of a decade of experience. And so, yeah, I was excited to write it and excited to do everything and anything in the business world.
So, Mr. Devin Sizemore, thank you so much for sharing your talents to the world. Thank you for empowering us. So, what does it mean to be a one connection away from success?
Yeah, so the premise of the book, and it's interesting, I had a bunch of other subtitles written and we ended up with this one because I want to challenge people when they pick up the book to think about what's possible with one connection, just one high impact, high value connection to you and your world, whether you're chasing a new career, looking for an internship, or scaling a multi-million-dollar business. One connection can truly change the path you're on or the path your business is on.
So, how can we identify the key connection?
Yeah, so part of the art of it is not identifying the key connection, which sounds counterintuitive, but it's really the premise of the book is there's value in every relationship and there's value in every connection that you make. And so often when people are networking or building their relationship, they're so narrowly focused on chasing prospects or chasing one specific type of connection instead of being open to all the connections. And what I found over the years, the clients I've worked with, the companies I've worked with, is you never know which one of those connections is going to unlock something bigger than you probably can imagine.
How can building a meaningful relationships contribute to personal and professional growth?
Yeah, so I love the quote, right? Your net worth is your network. And it's so true in having a high value network. And the key there is your network needs to be full of people who know, like, and trust you and believe that you add value to them. If that's the network that you surround yourself with, then as you're growing on your path, your career, your journey, your network can provide value back to you. So again, whether that's a service that you need right now, a special opportunity, a new job, a new client, a new strategic partner, whatever you need, if you have a really warm network, it can help produce that faster and probably in a better way than you could get if you just went and did research on your own.
Definitely. So, people, you need to connect. So, what are the essential qualities of a strong, impactful connection?
Yeah, so anytime you're connecting with someone, there's kind of two ways to answer this. One is when you're connecting with someone, and one is when you're connecting others. And so when you're connecting with someone, it has to be a conversation about them. So often people rush to talking about themselves or selling their product or service or promoting their thing. But if you want to build real and genuine connections, then you need to ask questions, be genuinely curious, and listen to the other person. And then following that conversation, you need to add value, right? So you need to make additional connections. You need to provide resources. You need to add value to that person that has nothing to do with your product or service. And on the making connections side, you have to make sure that you're edifying the people you're connecting. So both parties are feeling confident in who they're meeting. And you have a very clear sentence that explains to both parties why they're connecting or why they should be connecting, so that both parties are confident in who they're meeting and have real transparency in why they're meeting. And if you can accomplish that as you're making connections, both people are going to feel a lot of value from you, which will then help deepen your relationships with those individuals.
Mr. Devin, beautifully articulated. Well done. So, how can individuals identify and approach people who align with their goals and values?
Yeah. So when it comes to building network, there's two things to focus on. There's building your new network. So that's new relationships and new contacts. And then there's leveraging your existing network. And leveraging your existing network is really exciting because everyone listening has people, right? If you pick your phone up, there's contacts. If you're on social media, you're connected with people. The problem is you're probably not nurturing those relationships to get value. You're only leaning into them when there's an emergency or when you need something. And so the first thing is you've got to nurture. You have to actively work the network you have because there's so much untapped potential there. And so what I recommend everyone does is the kind of the quick action exercise. We talk about it in the book, but it's something you could do listening to this is reach out to 2, 3, 4 people in your network and send them this email. Hey, Daniel, it's been a while since we last connected. What's going on with you? Anything new and exciting in your world? Any new challenges? Hey, I'd love to grab a time to catch up with you so that I could make some connections for you. Here's a link to my calendar. I look forward to connecting. All we're doing with that is checking in. We're asking specific questions about the person. We're inviting them to a meeting where we then can collaborate and explore how to help them. And what it does is it helps us re-engage our network. Then we can get into a meeting and we can have a dynamic conversation where we're asking questions, learning, adding value, doing all the things we've sort of already talked about. But we have to reach back out to our network and engage it and restart the conversation.
Certainly. So, what role does networking play in creating opportunities for success?
Yeah, so I love this. It takes time, energy, and effort, right? And so everyone wants to understand, like, is this something I should actually put time into? And I like to answer this two ways, which seems to be a theme today, is the contrasting of two things. But the first is just statistics. And so if we look at the month of January, just for myself, using the system talked about in the book, I had 52 meetings with people that were new people to my world. I made 98 outbound connections, connecting other people. So that's actually double that, right? But that's 98 connections, 27 inbound connections, 7 of which were perfect prospects ready to buy my product and service. All of those statistics were with zero cold calling, zero outreach, zero networking. That is just using the system with my network. And so statistically, it produces and performs. And then if we look at the bullets, in the book, I have a bullet list of crazy things you can get from using the system. And those are everything from an internship at your desired company. If you're a college or younger person listening to this, it's a 6-figure job opportunity with no competition because of how well positioned you are with your network. It's a 7, 8-figure business opportunity that you didn't know exists. It's saving money on traveling, right? Free hotels or free Airbnbs because you know people who have properties in the places you're traveling. It's better experiences or exclusive experiences because your network trusts and values you. So they invite you to things that other people can't get to. All of these things come down to having a really well dialed in network that knows, likes, and trusts you.
So, Mr. Devin, how can someone overcome fear or hesitation when reaching out to influential connections?
Yeah. So I love to empower people when you're networking or reaching out to do a couple things, a few things. So, first, stop selling. So, when you're connecting with someone, especially if it's a colder outreach, make sure you're doing an educated connection. So, if I'm reaching out to Bob because I think Bob and I could have a really aligned conversation, I've looked at his LinkedIn and I'm going to send him a message or an email. I want to do it in an educated way. Hey, Bob, I was on your LinkedIn and I saw you're involved with blank or you're doing this thing. And that's really interesting to me. And I'd love to collaborate or have a conversation about that because I think we could collaborate or I could add value to that, or I think there's an aligned conversation. So if you're going to do cold outreach, make sure it's highly educated and it's aligned with things you already know about the person. And again, you're not selling. You're talking about, hey, I can bring value to you this way, or I want to talk strategically because the goal is just to get on a meeting. You're not going to hard sell them in the first touch. If you're at a networking event, then I recommend you take all the pressure off yourself. first, congratulate yourself for scheduling the event. Second, give yourself a pat on the back for walking in the door and getting out of the car, right? That's an accomplishment, right? You committed to it and you actually showed up. And then next, take all the pressure off. Just meet people. Don't set a quota. Don't be chasing the one client in the room. Just go in there and have open conversations. And if you're really stuck, you can ask the same set of questions every time and empower yourself with confidence that way. But I think people need to take the pressure off when they're networking. They set expectations so high. And in reality, you need to just show up, be genuine, and ask some questions. We'll deal with the follow-up and booking a meeting later. So a couple tips, again, whether it's networking or whether you're doing cold outreach, some things to consider and think about.
So, what strategy can be used to nurture and maintain professional relationships over time?
Yeah. So the rule I recommend everyone has is any contact that's in your database. So if you're using a CRM or if you're just tracking it on an Excel sheet, every single contact that's warm, so someone who knows, likes, and trusts you, these are not cold contacts, you need to have a task assigned to check in with them at some sort of cadence. So for me, my best recommendation is every 6 weeks. And every 6 weeks, they're going to get that fast action check-in email that I already shared, right? How are you doing? Anything new and exciting? Any new challenges? I look forward to hearing back from you. And you're going to continue to send that email check-in every 6 weeks or whatever cadence you choose forever, because that's what gets your network re-engaged. In a real-time example, I received a response yesterday from someone in my network saying, hey, I made a pivot in my business. This was my pivot. Today, I met with someone who's super well aligned with that pivot that person shared with me. So I just finished sending a connection email between the two parties. That connection email was only possible because the person replied to me yesterday and was engaged in conversation. And now I'm able to impact both people and follow up with them in the future to ask how that introduction went.
Great. Awesome. So, how does giving value to others help in expanding one's network and creating a lasting connections?
Yeah, so it is one of there's 5 core principles, and one of them is always add value. You have to be focused on others, and you have to add value without selling your product or service. And so that adding value is the connections, right? So if I meet you and can make 2 or 3 connections that help move you down whatever path you're chasing, that's an instant value to you and a value to the 3 people I'm connecting with. So it has an exponential growth. And so when we say add value, so many people are like, oh, my product or service adds value. Yes, it does if they raise their hand and tell you I'm interested in that. But genuinely, we want to just focus on adding value through connections or providing resources, YouTube videos, additional information. So again, we're positively impacting the world. That way, when we ask for something, those people are more inclined to say, yes, Devin, I'd love to help you, or I'd love to make a connection to you because I've already done that for them. I've trained them to do what I want, and I've added more value to others than they've given to me, which allows me to be able to ask when I need something.
So, Mr. Devin, how can someone leverage their existing network to create new opportunities?
Yeah. So the biggest thing when you're leveraging your current network is changing your ask. And what I mean by that is often when we go to our current network, we ask them for something so specific and so targeted. In the business world, that tends to be the client, right? This is the exact type of client I'm looking for. Could you please send me a referral? The issue with that mentality is you're asking someone to connect you with someone that's going to be sold. And so a quote that I always say is, everybody wants to buy, nobody wants to be sold. And so stop going to your network with these really specific asks where you're trying to position them to send someone to you to be sold. Instead, go to your network with a different ask where you're asking for connections to referral partners or strategic partners who have access to your ideal clients. So that may sound like me saying, hey, you know what? I'd love to connect with business coaches, because in general, business coaches are working with a lot of businesses that are ideal clients for me. So we usually can collaborate and add value to each other's worlds. Now it's easy to connect me with business coaches because I'm not selling the coach anything. We're connecting to collaborate. So that's my biggest shift is nurture your network first. You're probably not doing that effectively. But second, if you're asking them for anything, ask for something that's way easier for them to deliver on than this perfect prospect that's going to be sold.
So, Mr. Devin, what will be your advice for those people out there they want to start to connect?
Yeah, it only takes one connection. So again, don't put so much pressure on yourself to go out there and, do 100 meetings, or do like me and do 52 new meetings in January or 8 new meetings today. Great, you'll grow to that, right? But all you need to do is meet one person, have one good conversation, ask good questions, and add value to them. And we're just going to continue to do that. In the book, I talk about this exponential growth example. So if we can meet one person, if I can meet Amy, right, and I have a great conversation with Amy, and after meeting Amy, I give Amy 3 connections. What happens is I'm training her to give me connections, right, because I'm showing her what I want to done. And now I have permission to follow up with Amy plus the 3 people I connected her with. So now I have permission to follow up with 4 people. That's 4 people that I'm now talking to that I wasn't talking to before, that now have a potential to reconnect, make connections, send me connections. And so if I meet with one of the 3 because they say, hey, Devin, it's been a while, let's catch up. Great. Now I can take the one person and connect them to 3 more people. And if one of those 3 people raise their hand and says, hey, Devin, let's catch up. Now I can meet with that person, connect them to 3 people. And so just with one person, you probably can get this ball rolling.
So, what will be your short-term and long-term goals in writing?
Yeah, so in the writing world, I wrote a whole other book, and I almost hit publish on it, but I realized it wasn't aligned with what my coaching, consulting, and business kind of focus is right now. And so the connection book was born because that's my focus. It supports the group I have. It supports the work I'm doing. And it is my superpower. It's a unique conversation. The other book is a much more traditional business book with traditional business tools, just presented in a different way. So that book will come at some point. I think that it's a really value-packed book. There probably won't be any calls to action. It'll be more of like a true business or personal development book, but I have it. I just got to get around to reworking it and, get it through the editing process.
So, connection expansion, is there a follow-up for this book?
There's probably not a follow-up specifically for this book, although I may rewrite the book specifically for college kids. That is debatable. I do a lot of presentations at colleges, and I think that what's in the book applies to everyone, whether you're a college student or a billionaire. But I think there's some specific language and techniques for college students that would be impactful when connecting to their professors, connecting for internships, or starting a career. And so I may rework the book to have more specific examples for that demographic, because I'm super passionate about helping college students grow faster and get further ahead in life.
So, how can failures or setbacks in past relationships inform and improve future connections?
Yeah, so you're going to have a lot of rough relationships. It's a very real part of it. The first thing I'm always paying attention to is someone a taker? And so what I mean by taker is, are they someone that every time you meet with them, they're either taking energy or asking for something, yet they're not giving you anything? If that's someone you're meeting with, you need to be very careful in how often you're around them and how frequently you're engaging with them. Because to build a powerful network, you need a network full of givers and people who positively impact you, whether that's energy, relationships, connections, monetarily. And so if you think back about relationships where you were uncomfortable or your gut was telling you something's off, I would ask you to look at, like, were they a taker or a giver in your world? And if they weren't a giver, let's make sure that we're really focusing our time on developing those relationships. And if someone's a taker and they're always just either negative or pulling from you, okay, well then let's not nurture quite as much and let's not engage quite as much, right? But if you see a trend where people are taking advantage of you, that's also something you need to pay attention to, because again, you're probably building a network of takers, not a network of givers.
So, Mr. Devin, how do collaborations and partnership enhance success, life, and business?
Yeah, so I'm a huge advocate for strategic partnerships. A great example of this is I've got a great partnership with a speaking coach. I do a lot in the writing publishing world, and he sends us 1 to 2 introductions a week with people that he's doing speaking or podcasting consulting with, and they don't have books. And so it's such a good conversation because we can talk to them about like, hey, how could a book positively fit into your marketing stack and elevate your presenting and get you bigger speaker fees and all these other things. And so he continues to send me qualified prospects all the time. And on the back end, when we're working with authors, he's brilliant at helping you craft your speech, book more stages, and be a better guest on podcasts. So it's mutual. Every week when our authors are publishing their book and their books go live, I can then go to him and say, hey, this author just went live. They want to be on more stages. Can you help? And so we're able to continue to add value to each other's worlds every week in a positive way that actually has a monetary benefit. By the end of this year, that relationship, both directions, will be a multi-six-figure relationship.
Definitely. So before we wrap up our discussion, Mr. Devin, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, Food 101, and its fifth season. People, fifth season already with my co-host, Chef Alessandro, one of the specialty chef in one of the five-star hotel in downtown Toronto. Please do listen to our latest episode. We're reading all our letter senders all over the world. So please do listen, Food 101. So, Mr. Devin, what is the long-term impact of fostering authentic connections on personal and professional fulfillment?
Yeah, so my mission is to positively make 1 million connections in my lifetime. And I want people to really slow down and think about that. What would 1 million connections do, right? How many jobs is that? How many businesses growing is that? How many new investments is that? How many new careers is that? How many new relationships, right? New friendships, new spouses, new everything. And if you think about the downstream effect of that, we're talking about new jobs. We're talking about positively impacting economies and cities and towns and houses and generations. It truly can be something that is the butterfly effect, right? One connection can continue to expand. I had an amazing meeting today with one lady. We just scheduled a podcast, an event, some other stuff. She was 13 connections deep from the first person I talked to. 13 connections. And you just never know, right? When I met the first person, do you think I had a clue that 13 people connecting us would have led to her? There's no way.
Yes.
So that goes back to what the subtitle on the book. You're one connection away from massive success in your life and business. You don't know what that one connection is. I challenge you to be open to it and be curious so that that one connection can happen for you.
Definitely. Mr. Devin Sizemore, Amazon best-selling author, thank you so much for sharing your talents to the world. And can you please invite our listeners to support your book?
Yes, please. Amazon Connection Expansion.
Please. Let's support Mr. Devin Sizemore because if you support him, more empowering books like this to come. So, Mr. Devin, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
More to come, people. See you soon.